Uh, well, it was in 2010 when I was decorated with the ambassador status, and then subsequently in 2000, to NASA, and then subsequently to ESA in the year, I think about 2013-14, and 2016 to 18, I think it was the Russian Space Center. Well, I mentioned to you earlier, I like to walk the path which is not walked by many, So this was a rugged path. People never thought about space much. Even if they thought you need to be a scientist or you need to be an astronaut to do something. So that is where I think God gave me the opportunity to, step first. So probably I was the first in the race to run, and I was given the ambassador status. But, that was happiness initially because I was there at home for 16 years and then came out and, getting the ambassador status and all was a fantasy. So I was so proud and happy and everything. But then subsequently, as years rolled by, I got to understand the financial implications, how children had to pay so much to go there to study, to do this entire space camp thing, which almost involved about, 3.5 lakhs to NASA and, about 2.5 to ESA and about 2 to Russia. I wondered, okay, we need to learn the history of space. Yes, they are pioneers, so we need to go there to learn. But why not have something like this here in India? Even a child from the last village of our country would get an opportunity to be there to learn about space. What has he or she done to be deprived of this? So I started fighting for that. I started making presentations everywhere. In fact, I had the opportunity to interact with the Prime Minister, in 2020, December 14th. So there also I made a presentation. I said, we need something like this in India. If you look at it in a business perspective, you get your business also, because there is no such research center or a research park here in the Middle East or in the Southeast Asian countries. So this is definitely going to be a revenue generation model for the economical growth, because that is where in the US they actually awarded me for increase in the percentile of tourism in the state of Florida. And that hit me hard. I was not happy that day, because what am I doing, building the resources and building the finances of Florida, the state of Florida, where I don't belong to. I learned, yes, of course, yes, I respect. But I need to do that for India. And so that is the reason I've made a couple of presentations, and hopefully now we are making a presentation to the Tamil Nadu CM. So hopefully we will get that somewhere in India. So that is my dream. So it is not the dearth of people here. It is just that who is taking the first step. I think without challenges, if you're not put to a corner, your true self doesn't come out, right? It is not only for me, it is for everybody, every individual. More so for a woman, because I belong to that sandwich generation that I mentioned earlier. So where women are looked upon as people who should be taking care of the family. Even though they have a lot of passion, it has to be only domestically oriented passion. You cannot be flying a flight and all that, which is like very rarest of things. Today you have a girl, a 21-year-old who's flying a Rafale. I mean, that's amazing. But in our generation, all this was very difficult. We would only do needle and thread. We could only do pottery or something related domestic. So here is where my husband is not a villain. Let me just tell everybody, it's not a villain. The only thing is they are having a preconceived idea that, if I'm going to send my wife to work, what is the next house going to think about me? What is my family going to think about me? Am I, earning her, running the house with her resources? So it is all in the mind, So to break that jinx was very, very difficult for me. It was very difficult for me. But I don't like to fight. My nature is very, very, like, I'm a very sober person. So, I keep talking, I cite examples of somebody else, and I was blessed with a daughter. So, she is doing law. So I keep telling my husband, when you think that your daughter wants to be, you foresee her to be a Supreme Court justice, my father also would have seen a dream like that. So, if you're able to talk and make them understand, I think it will take, for some people it will take 1 year, for some people it will take 3 years, for some people, for me it took 16 years. And even until this day, it is ingrained within me that, family is first. So anything, I just rush there, So, but there are a lot of people who have come out, who've built in beautiful careers and are able to take the support of outside help. So in spite of, having people nagging you, talking ill about you, and more so was the profession that I chose, or rather the profession that chose me, was something so very weird and different. We had to be there in the labs for 24 hours sometimes when we were building. This is a satellite, a 3U satellite. This is our latest one that we launched, the Satish Dhawan Sat, year last through ISRO. So when we are, building these satellites and all that, it really takes our time. So we need to really know how to balance it. And so that time what happens is, you kind of think which is priority. So you prioritize everything. You put notes how to work on this. I am not an engineering graduate. So that is a big drawback. People just mocked at me. How can a woman first do something which was not done almost at least in the last 75 years of independence. Yes, 75 years of independence, not one woman has done something like this. So who is this woman to do something like this? She is not from an aeronautical, she's not from an aerospace background, she's not from an engineering background, she's from a commerce background. So that is where I want to put my foot down and tell people that it doesn't matter what you study. If you don't know something, you learn that as you walk that path. You get people, you get experts to work for that. So I think now we are in a world which is a real blessing, that we have people who can understand all this and include you in the whole party. So women, I would say, pull up your socks. Never feel guilty. That guilt trip is always pulling the woman down. Whether I'm doing the right thing, whether I'm not fed my child, my husband is going to come home. All these things are a guilt trip within her. Shed the guilt trip. You are good at what you're doing. You know how to balance. You have beautiful instincts within you. Listen to the instincts, work with the instincts, and you will make the best out of your family and your profession. So we moved on from a research organization into a commercial organization now, building satellites and rockets for the commercial world. That is predominantly for the communications. We are developing a technology called the LoRa technology. It is available there, but still we are enhancing that. That's a kind of a secondary internet. It could play a role of a secondary internet. And during disaster times, because this has got a huge bandwidth with little, power source. So this can reach the remote villages during the disaster times. So this is the kind of satellite that we are focusing on. And especially if we are able to build a swarm of satellites, like say about 50 satellites, or 100 satellites, and we are looking at something of 250 grams, not huge satellites. That is where we have broken the ceiling. Instead of large satellites, though nano satellites were in existence, we kind of broke that and we got into being the pioneers in building that. So this is what is our vision now. We want to build a swarm of satellites, at least about 50 satellites, for the communication industry. So for this we need a huge support from the industry, because as of now Hexaware has supported us for the R&D purpose. But moving on, for commercializing this whole thing, we need huge funds. So if I have to talk in Indian terms, we need at least about 500 crores. So that is where you can really build in a huge infrastructure which can, help us with the testing facility, and then we can build these 50 satellites to 100 satellites.